It's that time again for the assault on your ears we call Lower Dorks, a Star Trek Lower Decks podcast. I'm Aaron, and with me as always is Stavros. Tonight on our screens is episode 8 of season 4, Caves. And in our cups, we have a broken leg. Gross.
Yeah, it tastes better than a real broken leg, though. That's a plus.
I want to know how you know this. Have you tasted a broken leg? Were you in
I'm just kind of using my imagination.
Yeah, you ever in a plane crash in the Himalayas? Had to survive any way you can?
I did what I had to, all right? They said I was okay. Anyway, this drink, broken leg, found on the internet. It is hot apple cider and bourbon. So you heat up the apple cider is the idea.
Yes.
And you stir the bourbon in there. You can sub whiskey if you want. I only had honey bourbon, so I'm getting I had to kind of go with a heated up Angry Orchard, so it was already hard cider.
Oh no!
I put in some honey bourbon in there, so it's kind of this like honey apple taste going on right now. Pretty heavy, but I could see this being a delicious kind of cold night drink.
Yeah,
and,
so
it was a high. It was like a 95 high today, so it's not working that well.
Not working too well for you there. Pretty good flavor. It all really works together. Usually, it's you put cinnamon sticks in it. I didn't have cinnamon sticks, so I just put a dash of cinnamon in it. And yeah, all the flavors work together really well. I as well got ready to make my drink and discovered inexplicably I have no whiskey in my house. No bourbons, no whiskeys.
Wow.
All I had was a banana whiskey. And so I had to give that a go. And you know what? It actually works, though. It all comes
banana
together.
Apple flavor.
Yeah, banana apple apparently is a pretty good combo.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm a kid again. You know, I got my sliced bananas, my sliced apples, and my sippy cup of whiskey.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, let's talk about this episode. This episode is called Caves, as you said. And in this episode, when the Warp Core 4... There's no sign of Talin, by the way. I know you're probably pretty sad about that.
You know, you bring that up every time. I think
you're sad every time. I want to acknowledge your feelings.
I'm sensing some abandonment issues here, Stavros.
Well, you know who gets abandoned is the Warp Core 4 in this episode. Like the little
I don't think they were abandoned.
They get marooned.
Dude. They were marooned. There's a difference.
Whatever. They're marooned / abandoned in a cave with no way to contact the Cerritos. And each crew member relates a cave story to the others to pass the time, which ultimately culminates in a rekindling of the power of friendship, despite them growing apart, which is something that happens naturally as they all rank up and pursue their careers.
Well, I mean, that's, 75% accurate description of the... I guess, no, wait,
what am I missing?
Like 66% accurate? How many stories did we get? No, 75. 75 is right. There's 4 of them. Anyways, moving on. I'll tell
There's
you.
one in the Turbolift.
Yes, exactly. You're not right, Stavros.
I was mostly right. I was 75% right. That's a solid C.
Wait, is 75% of solid C? Jeez.
I think so.
Man, schools are tough.
Yeah, they are tough. Yeah. Interesting thing about this episode, it was also directed by Megan Lloyd. She's done 2 others this season. She did the I Have No Bones and I Must Flee and Empathological Fallacies.
Both great episodes.
3 episodes in her first season directing Lower Decks. So
yeah,
that's a lot of work.
I give each of them an A+. So,
yeah, they're all good.
Good for you, Megan.
One thing I want to call out right off the bat, someone had a lot of fun coming up with planet names for this episode. We've got Gratinus that they got stuck on. There's Chiron 4. There's Balkus 9. There's a planet called Glish. My only hang up is that they use the numbers instead of the Roman numerals.
Yeah.
Which they kind of bounce back and forth on here.
I kind of wonder, a lot of times when they do planets, they're references to crew members or something else. And I'm kind of wondering what these are references to. I gotta believe they're references to something.
Yeah, I looked into that a little bit. I couldn't really find anything. Maybe there's an astute listener out there that knows more than we do, but
probably crew members.
Interesting names.
Like,
Yeah, could be.
Mr.
Glish.
Grotinus is named after Steve Grotinus, who he's the coffee boy or something.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, some titmouse coffee boy had his name put in the episode. It's possible. Yeah. But anyway, so the episode starts off with the Warp Core 4 getting reunited in the transporter room, going down to a cave. They're Some people are more excited about the cave mission than others.
And some of them showed up completely unprepared. Like, oh, what are we doing today? Like, did you not read the briefing? Was there no briefing? We've seen they get briefings. They do briefings.
Yeah.
They're told what the job is. I don't know, man. I'm starting to question whether these guys should be lieutenant junior grades or not.
If Mariner prepared, we wouldn't get the caves through the transporter effect, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
We got a good look at the transporter room here. Has the transporter room always had the kind of more mechanical looking door that leads into there?
You know what? I honestly don't know. And like when you first said that, that it had a mechanical looking door, I'm all like, what the fuck does that even mean? Mechanical looking door? Like, are the rest of the doors like beads or something? Did I miss some major element of this? Well, yeah, what you mean is it's the doors that are like, whenever you see they go to like engineering or like cargo bays that have the reinforcing lines, right? Right,
reinforced. Maybe that's a better word, yeah.
Well, that's the thing though. There's no way these are reinforcing lines. Like, what they're not even like properly aligned or shaped to be reinforcing. I think it's just like something like it's an aesthetic choice for
something
some
different.
reason.
Yeah.
Oh, but that wasn't the question, was it? The question was, has it always been this way?
Have you seen these before?
And in answer to your question, yes, it's always been this way.
Oh, you're a liar.
I honestly have no idea. I spent, a long time puzzling over what you were thinking of and considering that and then thinking about how ridiculous the reinforced doors are. I never even bothered to check.
You just completely forgot.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Too caught up in how dumb the reinforced doors are.
Anyway, when they do meet in the transporter room, I love Mariner and Boimler are like, hey, we never get paired up anymore. Complete fourth wall breakage there.
The thing is, though, it's not just a fourth wall break, right? Because yes, that's true. Yeah. Yes, the watchers are thinking that, but it's true. They always go off on adventures separately now.
Yeah. Hey, they're both command ensign or lieutenant junior grade. Yeah. Lieutenant's junior grade.
And the best part is
they got other people to command.
That is the theme of the whole episode. They're going on adventures with other people, and they're having flashbacks to that.
Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, they go down to the planet, and we get into the motif of this episode, which is all the cave sets use the same set. All the cave adventures use the same set.
I love that. It's a reference to the TNG era cave set that is just used over and over again. And it's funny because I'm not even sure it's not, I don't think it's always the same cave set, but it is very similar, right? Very similar. Definitely
similar enough.
I would believe it's a redress at some point. And it's funny because the entire episode, like all of the angles are recreation of angles from the very season. I'm like, oh, that's from the, Cardassian resistance. Oh, that's from when Picard is, tricked into going on a espionage mission. Oh, that's where this person met this other person. It's such a great bit through the entire episode.
I like to specifically call out the flat floors, which seems improbable.
Utterly ridiculous. Yes, that is my favorite bit from Rutherford this episode. And it's not even that they call it out. He's like, I love the flat floors of caves. And it's all like, caves wouldn't have flat floors.
They don't, yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do, but not that flat.
Not often.
Not the obviously a set flat.
Yeah. Speaking of Rutherford, though, I love when they beam down and they get trapped in there. Rutherford does not pull out his tricorder, although he does use his tricorder later in the episode to do various things. But he just turns on scanning mode of his implant. And I'm confused. When is the implant better than the tricorder? Is one better than the other?
Here's the better question. Has he used this function before?
I don't think so.
I think this is the first time we saw it. And it would be hilarious. You know what, though? I could totally see Rutherford doing the whole actually using a tricorder rather than the scanning function of his implant because he likes using a tricorder. That seems like a Rutherford thing to me.
I just want to know which one does what. They need to, I need some kind of Lower Decks. Do you remember the technical manuals for the 90s era shows?
Well, you want a technical manual for Rutherford's...
Yeah.
Don't
you want to know what it does? Yeah.
No, not at all.
Besides change his personality, don't you want to know
it didn't
all of the
change
different
his
personalities?
personality? It stored his old memories, right?
Well, remember when he was Cowboy Rutherford and Rutherford? And...
Well, all right, that is true. He could switch different modes in there. God, that was such a great episode. But was that episode an anthology episode just like this one? where it's a bunch of like little vignettes because it's all about Rutherford trying out for different departments, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
right.
God.
I think so.
That was oh man. Cause I was thinking about like Wage Douche and, what are the other
little vignette
anthology?
stories?
Yeah.
The one where they're on trial, but it's
yes. Veritas.
They've done it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Veritas.
Yeah.
It does seem to come up every now and
Well,
then.
it's a common episode. It's a common trope, and I think they do it really well here. Anyways, moving on.
We're going to get into all the Vendorian stuff and the stories in a little bit, but I'm so confused why Boimler had to take off his pants. And I know it's for funsies.
The cloth, it shifted the frequency of the phaser beam to properly.
He didn't just
have to take off his He didn't just have to take off his pants. Remember, they had to bounce the phaser beam off of a stalactite onto the pants. You know what the best part about that is, though, is when he gets done with that whole thing, and he's all like, now we just have to carefully extract the whatever ore it was, and he just starts hacking at it. Yeah. Oh, my God.
I love it. With the butt of the
Fantastic.
That was great. A lot of fun stuff in there with the
yes.
Them. Well, let's get into the actual Vendorian metaplot. So,
the return of Vendorians.
Yes.
In episode
we've seen them
1.
in Lower Decks before.
Yes.
Yeah, Envoys.
Yeah, Envoys in season 1.
That was the, my bones.
My bones. And then Boimler steps in to help out. Yeah. Oh, so good. My bones.
My bones. The joke had legs, man.
I know.
I'm upset it never came back.
I'm upset. You know what, though? This episode has had nonstop callbacks to old jokes. There's a character later that has an eye patch, and we had an entire discussion about how there was one season where there was just eye patches all over the place for no apparent reason, and it never came back. But in this episode, it did. This is another great thing I love about this episode is the nonstop callbacks.
Yeah, it's really good. But of course, Trek vets might recall Vendorians from the animated series, where we get the most information up to this episode as far as Vendorian culture,
which doesn't jive with this episode.
No, that's the confusing thing. So you can fill in the gaps in my memory, but I believe the Vendorian in that episode was pretending to be a crash survivor.
Yes,
and he was kind of an outcast from their species.
Well, no, because that episode was the whole thing was Romulans used Vendorians as spies because of their shape-shifting ability, and they're supposedly very deceptive because of that ability, and supposedly their whole culture is like that. And it was so bad that their homeworld is quarantined, so they don't let anybody on and off. And using a Vendorian as a spy is a war crime. Which leads me to how did we get to Vendorian morality tests?
Yeah, why is that a cultural thing?
So here's the thing. Here's my theory. Holy shit. That was probably a racist stereotype because the only Vendorians Federation had ever encountered were Romulan spies.
Yeah, you're right.
And it turns out that the Vendorians are just, they're all about going out there and testing people's morality for no apparent reason.
Yeah, just like any other god creature episode in TOS or TNG.
Yes.
They're all out to test humanity.
Only Vendorians aren't really... I mean, Vendorians might as well be god creatures. Dude literally turned into a deflector dish in that episode.
I know. That's right. That was crazy. They can rearrange their atoms, I believe, is what they say. Which totally makes complete sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? Sentient deflector dish that is actually a squid alien. You know what? If I was a squid alien, I would learn how to turn into a deflector dish.
You would?
I mean...
Just for that one time you need it?
That one time you need it. Here's the best part about that,
You never know.
This entire episode is just going to be me, thinking about the Vendorians and how ridiculous they are. Because in that episode, the longer they spend in the form of the alien they're mimicking, or the creature they're mimicking, they gain its memories and personality traits. So what memories and personality traits does it gain by copying a deflector dish? Is there a point where it's just oh, yeah, I love deflecting things. I'm just a big old deflector. And, that even raises the question, if he can mimic a deflector dish, can he mimic, a computer core? Would a way to steal data from somebody is just infiltrate their ship, have the Vendorian mimic the computer core, and then just download the data from your Vendorian? Could you do that? Like, if he was mimicking a computer core, could you, like, plug in a USB drive to him? I mean, like, I got a lot of questions
there are
here,
endless
guys.
questions.
Yeah. I need more episodes about
I feel like all the
Vendorians.
answers are yes. Yeah. Oh, God. And of course, they proceed with their morality tests. And, their morality test is all about reinforcing the power of friendship, because in both of the stories, and we'll get to those details in a sec, they are trying to make, all of the crew members on the ground just get along.
Yeah.
And, all the stories leading up to that point for the Warp Core 4 are all very, they cause some conflict, but Tendi's story is all about them being best friends, and that's all they want.
The stories themselves cause conflict, but the individual stories are about overcoming conflict.
Yeah,
which is
I think
great.
that they're paying attention.
I think we're sidetracking. We're supposed to be focused on the Boimler story, and the best part of the Boimler story is
what?
Crazy conspiracy theories.
Of course. I love that we haven't seen Lieutenant Levy in quite a while, right? Like,
this episode was full of background characters. I don't know if you noticed, but Lundy was the transporter operator when they beamed down.
Yes.
But anyways, back to crazy conspiracy theorist Levy, because one of his conspiracy theories was that this was a, Vendorian morality test. And lo and behold, it was. But his other conspiracy theories, and he throws out a bunch of them. Or actually, no, I guess he doesn't really throw out many. He throws out the comm badge one, which is just dumb. But Boimler then shouts about his other conspiracy theories.
Yes. Like Picard is a hologram?
That was, what?
Like
Picard? That? How is that?
What is that from?
How does that conspiracy theory work? So, my theory here is that Picard, as a hologram, is that Picard died or remained on the Borg cube. But they wanted to use him as an inspirational figure as coming back from the cube. So after that, he was a hologram.
That could make sense. That's in line with the Wolf 359 was a sham.
Yeah, an inside job.
Yeah, an inside job. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other thing I want to talk about. I really think this episode missed an opportunity. Lundy should have gone on about how replicators were changing people's biology and genome. How there was a secret Romulan infiltration of the Federation at the highest levels. And how there was a secret alliance between the Borg and 8472. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been great. Oh, you're right. They kind of just throw some random stuff out there.
Missed it out. And throw it in with his other crazy conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah.
And especially if everybody, especially Boimler was just this, and this, that doesn't even make any sense. And then it's literally the plot of Picard. Oh, that would have been amazing.
That'd be great. So it kind of got a little too real there as Boimler and Levy were getting tossed into the pit, and they're all tied up and stuff. And Boimler's just going on and on about you're just using them to make sense out of a chaos in the world. And I was just this is too real, man. I don't want to think about real life conspiracy theories.
I mean, there's two types of conspiracy theories. There's the what if of people just being all there's this fact and this fact and this fact. What if all of these things are tied together? What if this is a lie? Or, hey, there's evidence that these things might have a different meaning. And sometimes those people, they strike on the truth, and those conspiracy theories are real. And then there's the crazy, I have an agenda with my conspiracy theories, the racist conspiracy theories, the world is big and scary and I need a villain to blame because if there isn't, I don't know how to get through my day. The random bad things don't happen. I need there to be, a safety net that bad things only happen for a reason. That sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, I kind of felt like Levy. Boimler's kind of saying Levy was falling into that category, or at least that I was reading into it.
I do like the fact that they don't go down the path of he's a dumb conspiracy theorist. Apparently, he's a genius, and that is a very true thing. Many conspiracy theorists they're not necessarily dumb people. They are very intelligent people.
Yeah, seeing some patterns that may or may not be there.
Yeah.
All right. One other random thing I want to point out about Boimler's story is when he and Levy get stuck in there. Just a weird detail. Boimler pushes his sleeve up and then takes out the Voyager style wrist lights and then puts it on his arm, and then it like auto fastens around his arm. And I know it's just like a random prop, but I don't know if we've seen flashlights, because every show kind of did flashlights a little bit differently. Like Next Gen did like the handheld ones.
Yes.
And Voyager did like the wrist mounted ones. And here we get to see some Lower Decks era ones. And very similar to Voyager, but it just kind of auto fastens.
And the thing is, I think one of the things you kind of have to think about is, especially in the TNG era, there was a major transition in technology.
Yeah.
In that era.
True.
One of the things I really like is in that game, Star Trek Online, when they did a scary episode, and they wanted to introduce you view the world through flashlights. And they're like, well, we're just going to have like hovering flashlights because it's a very reasonable tech. I personally thought that was slightly ridiculous, but it's a very like evolution.
It kind of makes sense, right? Like,
yeah, the problem is
you don't have to point it.
It's a very technical investment for a very simple gain. Like, why not just have a patch on the uniform that you press it and it glows, Yeah. But that's the whole thing, right? Over time. And then like you saw it in, I can't remember which, may have been one of the movies where the phaser rifles had lights on them. And yeah, that totally makes sense. Right? Yeah, I think it may have been First Contact. But in, TNG, like there wasn't a lot of thought. It's a flashlight, who cares? Yeah. But a flashlight isn't an efficient design for...
you got to use your whole hand for it.
Yeah, it's the whole, holding the flashlight for your father while he works on the hot water heater, right?
Ooh, some flashbacks there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want your engineer to have to hold a flashlight or give it to, the red shirt to hold a flashlight, because when the red shirt inevitably gets killed, you don't have light anymore. How are you going to fix the transport beacon when your red shirt has been killed by the Gazorpian?
We all need the Rutherford style implants that have the built-in flashlights now, just like they did in this episode.
Yeah, or just give them, Geordie eyes that can see in every spectrum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's just do that.
God, I'm going on lots of tangents tonight. I need to focus up here.
There are some fun tangents. I like them. But let's move on to the next story, which I think is one of the fun ones.
Wait. We're not going to talk about the blowing up of the vehicle they find in the cave conveniently? Or
yeah, that's got to be part of the morality test, yeah.
Or the fact that the Vendorians apparently reproduce by laying eggs in people's throats.
Yeah.
A little dark there.
I like they show a pregnant Vendorian there too, and you're just like, ugh.
Oh, I think that's got to be that's got to be. I mean, if they're doing morality tests, there's no way they're laying their eggs in people's throats. And then of course they're eating dinner that is crickets, and apparently the crickets are delicious.
You know what? I blocked that out of my memory. I didn't even put that in my notes. So
I love how Boimler is all like as what the hell is his name? As what's his name is eating, Levy is eting the cricket. Yeah. Boimler just has this like completely disturbed look on his face, but Levy has got like he thinks it's delicious, and he's got the cricket goo like running down his chin.
Right?
Oh, so gross! I love it. Oh man,
those conspiracy theorists—they're willing to try anything new, I guess.
Well, you know what? I mean, give him credit.
Yeah, you got to give him
credit where credit's due. Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for Rutherford's story at this point?
I mean, no, but let's get into it.
Close enough. Yeah. When they said it's going to be a cave baby, I immediately thought...
Threshold, right? Threshold?
Yeah.
I know! Oh my god, but it's not. It's a freaking... And I'm not sure. Is this a Tucker pregnant by touch? That's the only thing I could think, right?
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's where they touch hands in the sand.
Yeah, and then he winds up pregnant, and they have to,
Yeah.
What does he do? He gets a, they do a fetal transplant or something.
Yeah.
But I also kind of thought it had shades of, what is it, the episode where Deanna Troi has the baby? What is that, the dolphin? Is that what it is? No, that's not the dolphin.
The offspring.
The offspring. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, no. Is offspring Data? I don't know. It's one of those.
No, I think you're right. Offspring is Data, and it's the child. The child is the pregnancy episode. Yeah, it's little shades of that with how quickly the baby grows up grows and is born.
Yeah, at first they kind of pull a little fast one where she touches his face, and I kind of felt like, oh, is she just going to like telepathically take over his body or something?
That is what I thought was coming too.
But no, just go straight to...
Nope.
Was that intentional, or they just threw that effect in there without...
I don't know. I don't know what the thought was on having it happen that way. I think it would have been better if they had just like touched hands. Because isn't that all that Tucker did, right? And that's how he got
they put their hands in sand together, or rocks or something.
Like grabbed his hand and shoved it into the rocks. But this isn't the same alien from that episode. This is a completely different alien.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think we have the name for this one.
I swear I've seen this alien before, but like I just can't place it. Memory Alpha failed me. The internet's failed
species.
Me. I was so desperate, I used Bing to try and find an answer.
Oh, did that work?
No! No!
Okay, just wanted to ask.
On the upside, now I'm getting daily emails about freaky aliens and where I can buy them, which is apparently a thing. Thank you, Bing.
Yeah, nice work, Bing. We knew you had to use.
Get the fuck out of here, Stavros.
I love the reason why they're down there, Dr. Tana and Rutherford, are because Billups got swamp rash.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Billups down there.
How did that happen?
Well, I mean, there's a swamp on the Cerritos now, right?
So, like, Billups was just down there and then he got some swamp rash?
Or maybe he was on the previous planet they visited. We don't know. We don't know what Billups is into. Maybe swamp rash is just a colloquial term for a communicable disease that was already on the ship. Maybe, possibly. He had a liaison with somebody who had swamp rash. You don't know.
Well, he can't have liaisons.
Well, I mean, as long as he doesn't tell his mother, which I think is kind of a common thing. I don't think most men tell their mother about their liaisons. If you're out there and you tell your mother about your liaisons, don't tell us. We don't want to know about that. No. You are a weirdo.
Oh, God. I love how when Dr. Tana does the C-section on Rutherford, I guess apparently there are no painkillers in medical kits because she just like bite down on this boot and he like passes out from getting cut open.
God, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's the... Well, I mean, does she have a full medical kit?
Yeah, they have like a whole backpack. If you watch later in the scene, they're checking out all the tunnels and they're wearing like little backpacks.
They're wearing backpacks. Like I don't think those are medical kits though, are they?
Yeah, it straight up has a medical little symbol on them in some scenes.
And I
think it does change.
Oh yeah, who knows?
Just no painkillers.
I know Rutherford's doesn't, right? Because I was like trying to find his backpack as well because I'm like, I've seen this before. Where have I seen this? And I couldn't find it. And this time I learned my lesson. And I did not search on Bing.
Oh yeah, that's probably smart. But yeah, the whole having a full medical kit and then refusing painkillers, that was tough to sit through.
Really? I mean, like it was animated, so it didn't really, affect me because, they're cartoons. They're not real people.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, like television people don't affect me because they're not real people.
Oh, well, I think you need to get some real feelings at some point.
Oh, I mean, I have real feelings.
You can't be a robot forever.
I have real feelings for real people.
Oh, I see.
I mean, that's not really true.
Well, you know what? Fine.
I have fake feelings for real
robot
people.
Confirmed.
I have fake feelings for real people. Feelings. Yeah, because, I've discovered that people will judge you if you don't have feelings of some variety.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I am right now, basically. You've discovered your robotness.
Aww. Don't judge me, Stavros.
I'm judging a little bit. Anyway, this newborn, I don't know if you know, but human newborns can't eat solid food, and they immediately shove solid food into this newborn's face. So,
to be fair, it's a freaky alien newborn who was gestated in an hour or in a few minutes, and is the what is it, genetic and mental reincarnation of a freaky alien.
Yeah, that's true. Might as well. If she can gestate in a few seconds, then maybe she can eat food right out of the body. Who knows?
Yes.
I also loved the Dr. Tana vaporizing the poopy diaper.
Such a great idea. Don't you wish there was poopy diaper vaporizers right now? So totally. Fun fact, I would need them. When I was a kid, not when I was a kid, it was my older siblings, my parents still used cloth diapers.
Oh.
And after a while, they would literally just, after they used them, take them out and throw them in the burn barrel.
Just burn them? Does that smell?
I have no idea. I've never thrown a poopy diaper into a burn barrel, Stavros.
That's a fair point. But I love it when in this shot, when she shoots the poopy diaper, it's like she shoots it at the bottom, and then it takes like a half second to vaporize the whole thing. So she like lets go before the vaporization effect gets to her fingers. Like, what would happen if she just didn't let go? Would it just continue to vaporize like her?
Have we ever established how,
dangerous light.
you know what though? No, because it's vaporizing in her hand as she's holding it. It's mid-vaporization. I don't think we've ever established how vaporization works, but the one thing we have established is that it makes no sense. Like, people will get vaporized and leave no marks on the floor. They'll vaporize an object and like, so is there like settings, like vaporization levels where like, you know, you have to guess the weight of the object you want to vaporize? Like,
depends on if you want Marines or not. There are 16 settings.
Are all Starfleet officers like weight guesser carnies? Like, is that a part of Starfleet training? Like, everybody has to do a stint in the Starfleet carnival where they guess people's weights so they know exactly how much vaporization to use.
You know, with the 16 settings on Phaser, there's 3 stun settings, and you got to be able to guess on the fly which stun setting to use, so you don't die, but you don't kill the person in, you know, attacking you or whatever. So I think there's got to be a class at Starfleet, like, you know, guess your weight so you don't kill your targets.
I just love the fact that, you know, there are 16 settings, and we establish one can vaporize a building. Like, even if that's the highest setting, like, at what point do you stop and go, you know, I don't think we need rifles anymore. No, we're good.
Great.
This is good enough.
Yeah. Depends how cool you want to look, I guess.
Well, and to be fair, they do establish in DS9, the only episode that took things seriously, or the only series that took things seriously, that rifles have a lot of built-in features like auto-targeting and stuff that normal handheld phasers don't. Sure.
That's true.
Wait, you're not going to call me out for saying that DS9 was the only Star Trek series that took things seriously? You're always like, you know what, Aaron, you're offending our fan base. Stop that.
You know what? I feel like all the hipster fans are already, you know,
you've just given up. You're like, there's nothing I can do. This guy's done. He's ruined any chance we had.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah. So yeah, like Rutherford.
Man, I broke your concentration that much. They're like, oh shit, dude. What has he done? Where am I?
Yeah.
God, we were talking about something. Jesus.
What year is it?
Yes.
Anyway, Rutherford ends up going to the tricorder to solve the plot with the talking monster, or I guess he makes
apparently tricorders can be used to upgrade the universal translator to talk to animals. Go figure.
Yeah. So I guess you know, that's a job that his implant couldn't do, but his tricorder could. So the mystery intensifies. What can his implant do versus what can a tricorder do? We'll never know the answer until we get
Well, I feel like he has a specific type of chip in his implant, and it is a plot chip where it only does what the plot calls for.
And what the animators feel like animating that day.
Do you think it's the animators, or do you think it's like the writers or producers or directors?
It's got to be a combination.
I don't even know how animation happens.
No, we don't know.
I figure it's a guy in a closet and then somebody with a whip.
Yeah, he's just like huddled over a 3x5 inch tablet and like horribly, you know, sketching as fast as he can. And
indeed.
Every once in a while, whoosh. Anything else on this Rutherford story that stood out to you?
So, not the story itself. Well, I mean, it is the story itself, but like, do you remember why he tells the story?
Isn't it because he just happens to drop that he's a caveman?
Well, no, because they ask him about, you know, how he knows how to refine trigamite, right? Trigamanite or whatever, right?
Right.
And he goes, I just guess it's just the kind of thing I learned when I had that cave baby with Ta'ana. And everybody's like, what? But nowhere in this story does it come anywhere close to explaining how he learned to refine trigamite or whatever it was called.
Oh man, you found a plot hole.
Oh my god. No, man, that is great. That is fantastic. And nobody calls him on it, which is even better.
No, not at all. They're all still upset about them having a cave baby. So
yeah. And then of course they bond over, you know, the monster baby and the, you know, weird.
Are they new best friends
baby.
now?
No, I don't think so. Duo. I love this story though. Like, this is such a classic trope of the character who hates children and is forced to care for one and winds up loving them. So like, here's the thing though. If I know anything about, you know, storytelling and television and cinema, the only follow-up to this is Ta'ana is going to have cute little crinkly nosed cat babies.
I'd love to see it. I want to see more half breeds. Half breeds or less. And
okay, sure.
Needs to happen. All right. Well, should we go to the next story then?
Wait, there's another story?
Yeah, there are 2 more stories. We're only halfway through the stories. The next one is Mariner's story with Delta Shift. And, they have the whole plot and, with the aging thing and whatever, and it's fine. But, I mean, the real question about Mariner's story, which hit me, is, are Delta Shift the true lower deckers now? Because these are the guys that have no connections to the senior officers or very little.
Here's a better question. Why are they still Delta Shift, right? Isn't there a whole shift that opened up? Couldn't they have all requested to transfer to that shift? Is there no seniority guidelines? How do the rosters work on this starship?
I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, so many
questions. We got
questions
new people
there.
On board anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're, the lower decker, the Warp Core 4 are kind of transitioning out of the lower decker role, I feel like. So these guys are the ones that really are,
interesting thing, because this is the same crew, right? The Delta Shift crew that they competed with in, what was the name of that episode where they were trying to get the room. Yeah, the lottery for the room. Right. And they were trying to, fudge it, and it turned out that Delta Shift was doing the same. So all of those people are XPs for the Warp Core 4, right? And in that original episode, you had XPs for Mariner, Tendi, and Boimler, right?
Right.
Because Rutherford wasn't there. So there is no Rutherford XP. But in this episode, Eye Patch Guy is obviously Rutherford's XP. So you would think that they would drop Mariner's XP, right?
Yeah.
But nope, Mariner's XP is there because she's important to be Mariner's foil, right? She has to be somebody who has the same character traits as Mariner to stand up to him.
Right.
But I don't know. I found that really an interesting choice. And there's a really good plot, though. And I love the characters they introduced. And I love Boimler's XP. Like that he actually got characterization this time.
Yeah. That poor guy. I'm thinking about, I know we've seen Delta Shift a couple times. I feel like, haven't we seen like a brief shot of Eye Patch Man before? I feel like I want to say we've seen him in like a hallway shot, but I'm not 100%.
I'm betting we've seen him before and I just don't remember it.
It's like a little background.
I'm willing to bet he was probably one of the Eye Patch references in a previous season. You remember that season with the eye patches?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Anyway, the only other thing I remember about the Mariner story is there's a lot of bone cracking. There's like hips cracking, there's legs cracking, there's legs falling apart. A lot of bone destruction in that story. I feel like that's a Mariner embellishment.
Wait, what?
Maybe. She's going into detail about all the bones cracking.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're old, right?
Yes, but it's unreliable narrator. She's just going into a lot of detail about all the bone cracks.
Mariner, an unreliable narrator? I find this hard to believe. I don't think so. Though, as long as we're going into the whole Mariner narrating thing, so obviously this is a visual representation of her story. I got to believe it's what actually happened because there's one moment when she first ages. Do you notice anything interesting about how she looks?
Yeah, she gets the stripe in the hair.
She gets the stripe in the hair and the crow's feet and the mouth lines that make her look exactly like Captain Freeman. And there is no way that is a narrative choice Mariner threw in there.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Well, of course it is. It's my point. All my points are good.
Well, that's not true.
I'm hurt, man.
Anyway. Should we move on to the final story then? Tendi's story?
Wait, are we already done with the Delta Shift flashback?
I think so. I didn't really have much else to say about that.
Well, I will say at least this flashback had some sort of reference to why Mariner knew how to upgrade the comm badge. Because that's exactly what they did in her story.
Yeah, that's true. They find the little powder or whatever it is to sprinkle into your comm badge, and that's engineering for some reason.
Well, I mean, that was the whole point, right? They needed, something to boost the signal, and that's whatever that thing did. Right?
Right.
That was the whole point?
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep, you're right. For the second time ever.
Shut up.
Anyway.
But they do that all the time in Star Trek, where they're like, oh, we just need to get some of this. And then when they have to do the upgrade, like literally is all they do is they like jam it into a socket or like run some wires into it and it just works fine.
Yeah.
Like
it just works. Yeah.
That is like, it would make one thing if it makes sense if it was like one thing where it's like, oh yeah, we're not getting any power. And they're like, oh, we got to find this conductive element to act as a bridge for the power relays. Then I'd be like, yeah, that's totally a thing that happens. Or, oh, we got to find this element because it'll act as an antenna. And so they build an antenna. Yeah, that totally makes sense. But just like, we got to jam these crystals into this circuit board. And now we'll be able to conduct electrons across dimension and watch interdimensional TV.
Not really.
Wait, that's a different show. Never mind. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. We were talking about poor Tendi, who just wants to talk about the time they were all stuck in a turbolift.
I know, and it's the crux of the plot because this is a story that brings them all together. It has the effect of bringing them all together, I should say.
What the fuck is cruft? Jesus. I don't think it is the crutch of the plot. I think it is a good resolution that is paid off. You might even say that the turbolift is Chekhov's gun.
Oh.
Making
I would agree with
myself
that, actually.
seem smart by referencing the most well-known story writing theory of all time.
Hey, in this case it works, so we'll give you a pass this time. She finally gets to tell the story. I love that this is set during the very first episode of the show, so you can see a lot of the details from that story or from that episode, and that includes some fun little details there when they show the exterior shot of the Cerritos. It's the season 1 version of the Cerritos.
It's the old Cerritos.
This is like the quote incorrect one. Yeah.
And I love
kind of the proportions a little off.
Well, it's interesting though. I remember not liking the Cerritos in the beginning and always feeling like they had changed the model a little bit. But I don't see it. It's not enough of a change. It looks different, but most of its changes seem to be in detail rather than design. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
So,
the
I guess
sizes and stuff like that.
I guess the point I'm trying to say is that, Stavros, I was wrong. And that's the only time you'll get that out of me.
Well, I need to treasure this moment. Another one of the details is you can see in the background of the lounge, there's Ensign Fletcher. There's that guy who made up the story about aliens coming onto the ship to, God, what was it? Like he made like a sentient computer core and it was, attacking people and tried to lie about it.
He's in the background of this episode. But you know what I mean? That's kind of, you know what though? I guess we haven't seen him since. Do we know what happened to him after that episode?
He got transferred.
Is that what it was?
He got in trouble on the Titan.
Yeah, I thought something had happened with that. But I think all of the characters though in that scene in the background are just, background characters from the series too. It's good that they included one character who's no longer in the background of the show because he got transferred off the Cerritos. Yeah. So as a callback to this is in the past. Oh, see? Yeah. See, we got continuity going on here. Look at this. Come on over, boys.
I love it.
Come check out our continuity. We're like
check out all the continuity.
We're we got that whole DS9 level continuity going on here. None of this I don't even know. What episode is it?
Next Gen.
TOS, Jesus, man. Yeah. None of this TOS continuity where they can't even decide what the name of the organization they work for is. Why am I doing this voice? Jesus.
I don't know. It's pretty funny, though. We'll give it another pass. Anyway, so they get stuck in the turbolift, and I love that Rutherford calls Billups. He's like, hey, is there a problem? He's like, yeah, we'll put you in the list. Hey, can you beam us out? And there's just no response. but Billups just hung up on Rutherford there. He's like, nope, you guys must stay in the turbo.
That always felt like, I know this is going to sound dumb, but I don't know if you ever read that comic, O'Brien at Work. That is such an O'Brien at Work gag of, like you ask somebody something over the comm in mid-conversation and then you just never get a response. Yeah.
Oh, that was great. But anyway, they go on to have this, heartwarming, they're all trashed and having fun for hours in the turbolift. But I got nervous here. Is this a prologue to the Warp Core 4
The
breaking
internet
up.
is a buzz. That's what everyone is talking about. It's such an
really?
ominous ending. Oh, the ending was so ominous.
I don't know about ominous.
Yeah, I'm like...
I would go with ominous.
I'm just like...
It's like
what?
a feel-good fuzzy ending.
Yeah, it's a feel-good fuzzy ending. Why does everybody immediately assume that they're going to get split up or somebody's going to die or get transferred off? And they're all like, oh yeah, it's because Talin. Talin's the new 4th member of the Warp Core 4, so who's going to leave? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. We haven't seen Talin in 3 episodes. You know, she'll come back when she's ready to transfer off the ship.
What happened? I thought you were the Talin fanboy.
You know what? I will never be the Talin fanboy. I will give them credit for taking a character that I didn't think much of and giving her enough characterization and enough good stories to make me think, oh yeah, this was a good addition. But that's it, man. If she died in the next episode, I'd be like, well, yeah, I mean, anybody can die at any time.
Obviously.
She's a background character. She is the Voyager Season 1 character who is introduced 4 episodes prior to their death just to give us enough time to gain attachment before they kill her off.
Oh, dear. Now that's ominous. That's an ominous statement.
Why is that ominous? Nobody cares about Talin.
Oof. We just lost like 95% of our audience.
Oh no, 2 people. Oh, it's the end of the world.
Anyway, I mean, it has a feel-good ending. You know, we get the reveal about the Vendorians, you know, kind of prompting them to overcome their conflict via the results of this story. It's feel-good. I felt like it could be a precursor to them eventually. I don't know about dying or any of that kind of stuff, but they're growing, right? Like they're pursuing their own career tracks. I think it's a possibility.
You know what? Actually, I think it would be pretty cool if they actually did kill off Boimler, but it was like Section 31 Boimler.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
it can always happen.
Yeah, bring him back and he like infiltrates the Cerritos to, you know, uncover who the mystery murder ship is that is not really murdering people. Yeah, and then in the end, he winds up getting killed by Talin, who we're supposed to believe is the one that betrayed them.
Oh,
genius! That is genius writing right there.
Wow, hire this man, Mike McMahon.
Well, I mean, clearly they're already great. Excuse me? Excuse me?
I'm just stating facts. What do you want from me?
Terrible episode? Get the fuck off your podcast, Stavros. That episode would be amazing. It would put to shame freaking Inner Light and Tapestry and In the Pale Moonlight. And I can't think of an episode from Voyager that's held in high regard. Oof. And
that's another bit of our audience. Anyway, actually, we should end this discussion before we lose any more audience. I feel like we've discussed the heck out of this episode already.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've discussed a little too much of everything.
Do you want to just keep digging a hole here?
But this episode. And I take back my statement about Voyager. Voyager had great episodes. Did you think of one? No, I didn't. But I know it had great episodes. Ooh.
They're in there.
Every episode that featured Lawn Suitor was fantastic. How about that?
Oh, there you go.
God, okay, that episode. What is the name of the episode where the Kazon capture Voyager? What is it? Yes. Basics, right? Basics?
Is it Basics?
And it's the 2-parter. That episode was great. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I remember watching that during its first run and being like, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on here. This is amazing. I mean, I was 12, so there's that. Not exactly the best judge of great story writing, but I think it holds up.
Okay. Great work, 12-year-old Aaron. We knew you could remember an episode for us.
I'm actually just surprised I remember anything from when I was 12, because I may be drinking too much.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right now.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, and if, the booze doesn't flow, the gab doesn't go. Ooh, that's a good rhyme.
Well, you need to keep some booze on tap for the remaining 2 episodes of the season, because those have got to be.
Wait, this isn't the finale? Oh shit!
No.
So that means that they're going to have to come back next week and catch us for episode 9 of season 4, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And in the meantime, you can, obviously you can catch us on Shitter.
It's close on the X.
Yeah. Well, it's XTWITTER. That's pronounced Shitter,
No.
right?
No, but keep going.
Okay. So am I calling it Twitter or am I calling it X? I'm confused.
I think you got to call it X because that's what it is legally. But you know what? You do you.
Well, I guess if you go to twitter.com, it'll get you there, right? Where does
That's
it?
true.
Should
Yes.
I don't even want to find out what happens if I type in x.com. I feel
X.com redirects you to Twitter.
Really?
You know.
Well, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they do twitter.com having you redirect to X? That doesn't make
More
any
technologically
sense.
complicated.
You know what? Fuck it. I don't care. At Lower Dorks, catch us if Stavros updates our Twitter account, which he never does.
Yeah.
Because I can
Never
never
will.
come up with things between episodes. Or, if you're so inclined, you can find us in a cave.
Are we together in the cave?
Well, I mean, obviously you went in first, and I felt compelled to...
Which one of us is wearing pants, though?
Well, neither of us.
No.
I mean, because, as they say, home is where the pants aren't.
Makes sense.
Wait, does that imply we live in caves? Are we cavemen, Stavros?